Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 357, the Heinz variety. I'm your host, Todd Oxtra. This is your guide to the geek side. And I'm joined by, as always, my co-hostess with the mostest, Mr. Charlie Carton.
Purple Rain, welcome to 2022, year 6 without Prince. It's no good.
Me, I really need to go to Paisley Park one of these days.
Yeah.
It's literally like 20 minutes from here. I actually worked from a facility kitty corner from it. I never knew it was Paisley Park because I was there prior to his passing. It was a closed facility. He never had people out there.
Right.
It looks like this white facility that you would have never guessed is something that is as special as the purple one.
No purple?
No.
Oh,
no purple on the exterior. No, it's all white. And it looks like some just, I can't even explain. It just looks very generic, almost like one of those 70s houses you'd see like in the 80s films where or it's 70s or 80s.
Like
where you'd see the villain is, it's kind of very architect deco or maybe modern. I don't know. I don't even know.
Well, I'll tell you what's absolutely purple is the outfit on the villain of the cover of this week's flashback issue. This is Captain America. We keep coming back to Captain America, don't we? We get a lot of Cap and Avengers because they had some of the worst covers, I guess. But we have Baron Zemo with Batrocc's Brigade, which was I really ought to know. I never really put together this whole Bloodstone thing because isn't there a Bloodstone character? Elsa Bloodstone in current parlance must be his daughter or something.
Well, Charlie, the reason I picked this cover is because it's got Baron Zemo, Batroc, and the bones of Ulysses. I'm like, the bones?
Yeah,
that's a headliner.
The Bones is a co-star. And it was funny. I remember this issue because, again, I was reading at this time. Half of the issue was a wrap-up of a story that had been going on for 3 issues prior, where Cap had to be Cersei of the Eternals, who was an Avenger at the time, reverted him to the age of a teenager pre-Super Soldier Serum so he could infiltrate basically a cult of teenage runaways to rescue the little sister of his ex-fiance. I mean, it was very soap opera. So I remember that very clearly. But yeah, that's what was going on in that one.
Well, who's kid Captain America or Teen Cap? Who's that?
Well, it was Steve Rogers. I told you he was reducted in age. They
did that with Tony Stark. They've done that many times. That's another trope, right? It would be like de-aging or bringing back from a character.
It's an old chestnut without a doubt.
So weird, yeah. And if you want to read more about Ulysses Bloodstone, apparently he is a renowned immortal monster hunter.
Oh, awesome! Well, that's really the best way to be. So, speaking of monsters, and again, this is just for clarity's sake, September 1989. That was my senior year of junior high school. I was in 8th grade, I think, in 1989. So,
very exciting times.
Yeah, avid comic reader at the time. But speaking of runaways and people that we can't find, I don't think we're going to be able to find Madam Web this week because there's nothing going on. We searched for news stories and they all kind of sucked. So Todd, that really does give us a chance to kind of shift focus to our big blowout of the week, which we'll get to later on in the show. But I guess this is going to save us basically a stop on the Uber or on the Uber bus, whatever it is, because now we're going to go directly to the Geek Easy to talk about stuff we're into this week. So I guess let's make it happen.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured, and you know what, Charlie? No wonder we couldn't find Madam Web. She's actually doing a side gig at the Geek Easy, but she refuses to wait on us. So, Madam Web, we will be talking to your manager.
Turning up her nose at us with the quality tips we give, that is disappointing. And speaking of disappointment, Todd, guess what we're teeing up as a big disappointment for you this week. Something that I was very excited about was the first episode, Chapter 1 of the Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett was kind of teed up at the end of Mandalorian season 2, which was about a year ago. We saw Boba stride into the former Jabba's palace, where Big Bib Fortuna, try to say that 5 times fast. Big Tuna. Oh, dude, nice. Was sitting on the throne. He tried to fast talk his way, but Jabba just decided to shoot him in the face, and he took over. So he said, "You know what? I'm your captain now." He says, "I'm taking over the rackets on Tatooine." And then at that time, the screen faded to black, and it said December 2021. The Book of Boba Fett and all us Star Wars types were kind of creaming in our jeans. So we're very excited. So it's been 12 months. They produced the show, and we got the kickoff of the segment. And Todd, your thoughts have been expressed fully force and all over social media. I will simply say that I'm going to reinforce the thought that you came up with. It was very comfortable. Star Wars is very comfortable. It followed a lot of familiar beats. It gave people kind of the nods and the winks and oh, look, Sam Witwer was the voice of the Rodian. You know what I mean? And so we got a split story of Jabba breaking out and doing his thing, touring Mos Espa and seeing.
He's calling him Jabba, Charlie.
Oh, God.
Boba.
Joba.
That would be a different experience, seeing Jabba moving around, doing quaking and shaking.
You're not going to put Jabba in a set of armor. That would be a stretch. It'd be like hanging on one arm. But no, I loved it.
Like a micro bra.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the micro bro. Did love that we got to see the immortal, literally, Jennifer Beals as a Twi'lek madam. That was kind of exciting. But yeah, Todd, I will agree with you. I know that you felt it was kind of boring. But half of the story was told in flashbacks. So it's 7 episodes, which is about half the size of like The Mandalorian and some of these longer shows. But it's really kind of a lot on par with what Marvel's doing. Marvel's doing 6, 7, 8 episodes. So I am trying not to judge it too harshly. There were parts of it that we found kind of interesting, parts of it we found kind of annoying. But I think it's one of those too close to call. So I'm engaged because it's Star Wars. It does have that samey aspect to it. I will give you that. That is valid. But I enjoyed it. Episode 2 comes on in the morning after we record this. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, adventures in Tatooine again. The planet
Tatooine-ish.
It seems like there's 3 planets in Star Wars, and Tatooine just seems the most popular place to visit.
Right, true.
I don't know what the infatuation is. We keep going back there, and I'll tell you why. Because Star Wars fans love comfort food. They like, I remember that. Remember that? It's member berries. This is all this show is so far. We've got to fill up the time, so we'll just tell you exactly what happened. Right. Nothing to the imagination, nothing figuring out. They don't trust their fans to fill in the blanks anymore. They just say, we can't, because if we don't show you, then you'll not trust it, and we'll think something else happened. It's ridiculous. We don't need to see him in the Sarlacc pit.
100% the Big Mac of franchises. There you go.
We saw him. He didn't have his armor, so it's not like we were expecting him to have his armor. We knew he was going to lose his armor. All these things, Tusken Raiders. Guess what? I'm sure the Tusken Raiders will come in and save the day in current time. That's why you're doing this. I tend to more think that Tuskens. That he was the last member of that tribe that survived. That's why he was walking around by himself. That's what I think. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, I'm doing a little bit of a wait and see with this. I'm interested because it's Star Wars. I'm interested to see if we can get some surprises out of it, because The Mandalorian gave us some surprises. Anyway, The Mandalorian gave us everything. I don't think there's a lot more surprises in Star Wars that relate to characters we know.
I don't know.
There isn't. Who's the big reveal? We already got Luke. We're not getting Luke again. Han Solo's not showing up. Or if we do, we're going to get...
that's the
and I don't think a lot of people are excited about Kira showing up in a lot of these story beats. And we've already had Darth Maul. Darth Maul can't show up because he's dead. So
that is correct.
That's not even going to blow it. We're going to see Obi-Wan in his series, and he's dead.
Let me stop you, because you're going to go rambleberries, and we got to keep it on track.
Well, it's okay, Charlie. We only have like 3 story items, so
I know.
But the next one you're going to talk about is
but you've talked about this more than I have, so I'm gonna put a pin in it.
Well, it's for both of us because it's something I would have put on this schedule and talked about.
I didn't.
Well, and you're going to talk about it on Holocron, so you'll have more time to talk about the show than I ever will. So
right,
that's
exactly.
why.
Okay, well then let me pose a question to you. What's something about it that you enjoyed?
I didn't find much to enjoy because I found I didn't think the fight scenes were that interesting, and they didn't do anything to say what's next, and that's to me very limited. This group came in, so it's unfortunately I feel like this is going to be very on the nose, and that's where I'm very frustrated because I like Robert Rodriguez a lot, and I thought he would have done more with the cinematography. We spent half the time in flashbacks, and if we get the same kind of setup. I just think Star Wars is at a point where they just need to reinvent themselves. To me, I just found it unfulfilling and full of cameos, and that was the only thing that kept a lot of people excited because it was just like, oh, you saw this part, and what does this mean? And that's what when I've heard all of the reviews, that's what it's focused on. Those type of things, which to me is not good storytelling. It's just fanboyism.
It's the sure thing. You're right. It's not swinging for the fences. I can't disagree. Okay, so. This other thing, we started watching this, and it's brand spanking new. I think we started watching this last night because it's one of those, like, you turn on a streamer, and this is on Paramount Plus, and it says, watch this thing. And I'm like, what's this thing? And then I see something about it on the internet, and I'm like, oh, all right, I'll watch this thing. It's on Paramount Plus, starring an unlikely pairing of something that I would enjoy, which is Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. No, it's not some ridiculous VH1 Behind the Music thing, even though it is produced by MTV Studios. No, it's called 1883. It's a prequel to a show from a few years back called Yellowstone, I think. Is that ringing a bell, Todd? You know anything about this?
Yeah, I've heard it's only a prequel in name because it's so long that anybody that's in the current show, they've never been born. It's like the great-great-grandfather or something like that. Gotcha. Yeah, and to me, this is like it's not turn of the century because it's 1883.
Yeah.
It's about settling America and things like that. So,
well, it's
but I've heard it's very popular,
phenomenally. And again, it was funny because I had to look it up. I'm like, well, how much of this can we watch? And there are 3 episodes. We're on the 3rd episode. It comes out every Sunday, so there'll be another episode this upcoming Sunday. And I don't know how long it is. So yeah, we've kind of fallen into that trap. We'll finish watching this 3rd episode later tonight or tomorrow, whatever it is, and then be stuck in this weekly, like, I gotta wait for this thing to come out, which there are varying schools of thought on if that's good or if that's bad. But yeah, this is it's a very specific to the point about a group of settlers and the people that they it's a group of immigrants, largely who don't speak English, Germans and gypsies and what have you, that are looking to move from Texas to Oregon in 1883, and the group is led by the resettling Tim McGraw's character, who his wife is Faith Hill, his wife, and their teenage daughter, and they have a 5-year-old son. And you have, I would say, Sam Peckinpah, but it's Sam Elliott, who's as grisly as Lee Marvin, who's also.
He looks pretty good. I mean, Sam, he's always looked like he's 65 years old.
His face looks droopier. The mustache droops a little, but yeah, his whole face just looks a little lower. And it's interesting.
Fun fact, Charlie.
Yes,
he is now the new mayor on Family Guy.
Oh, how funny! So he took Adam
Mayor West,
place?
And they call him yeah. He's Mayor West's brother.
I haven't touched Family Guy in 5 years, maybe longer. So you got me. I think the last thing I watched on Family Guy was the Simpsons crossover, and which I thought was
that was like forever ago.
Yeah, it was probably around the time we started doing this show. So yeah, and there is a genre tie-in with the last character. There's an African American character played by the same actor who was the Anti-Monitor in the Flareoverse over on the CW.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. I had to
who that is.
I'm like, why does that guy? Because I have this problem when I'm watching the show. I'm like, why does this guy seem so familiar? So I had to look it up, and yeah, he was the Anti-Monitor in the Arrow Flareoverse and the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing or whatever. So anyway, I'm enjoying it. Again, I can't remember the last Western I really kind of dug my teeth into was probably True Grit. And that's 10 years gone by. Great flick. Gave us Haley Stenfield's first role. So, this is
Cowboys versus Aliens.
Yeah, well, yes. How could one forget? But no, I really dig this. So I would enjoy it. But again, it's grit and it's violence and it's there are no good guys. Everybody's trying to kill everybody, and it's intense. It's very intense.
Did you ever watch Deadwood?
No, I never did. Was that?
I've heard that's very good.
Is that a Showtime? or an HBO?
HBO. It was HBO, yeah. Like, and basically, you learned out that they probably swore more back in 18-2 than they do now.
That was just the thing. And we were watching this, and some cowboys drops an F-bomb, and April says, "Did they really talk like that back then?" I'm like, "They're like sailors, I'm sure. Sailors and cowboys always got."
But don't they like use different things though? It would be like dickety blue blue.
No, they don't say any. And 23 effing skidoo. They do not. No, so it's the swearing is all very conventional. But yeah,
more less educated swearing, most likely.
Tim McGraw's a serious badass. He's shooting people left and right, and brains, and it's intense. I'm just saying it's intense. So if it's your scene, Tim McGraw didn't know he had the chops. I'm kind of impressed. He's doing good.
He acted in a few things.
He was
on Friday Night Lights and things like that. So,
I looked him up.
Though I don't think she's ever acted before. I could be wrong though.
Could be. She has the look of, and maybe it's a makeup effect, but she has the look of somebody who maybe should have used some sunscreen over the years because she looks very.
Word is that she's had some work done, but I
feel like they worked it backwards because she looks very desiccated. I guess is the word I would use. But anyway, that's it for me. Then this next thing you watch, we both watch, but I'll let you take the lead, and I won't jump in and start screaming.
No, if you watch it, I want to hear your thoughts about it. That's the shared experience, Charlie. It's not just mine; it's yours as well. Because we watched Encanto. This came. This was in theaters in November, then dropped on, I believe, Christmas Eve on Disney Plus. Very cool story. Takes place in South America about a family, essentially enchanted people with special abilities. Grandmother, the matriarch, she basically has this family where they come of an age and they go through a door and they develop a ability that is supporting the family, supporting the community. It's a very cool story, and it's a musical. It is Lin-Manuel Miranda did all the music. He's actually not in this, but he obviously composed it. And really good songs. A lot of fun, wordplay. Animation's beautiful. This is by Disney Animation, not Pixar. And just 90 minutes of good story where you basically have the daughter who didn't get any abilities, who essentially has to save the family because they find cracks in their foundation.
I said to April, I said, this is the Inhumans, but the one who didn't get the abilities was Maximus the Mad, and he was the villain. So kind of turned it on its head.
Exactly.
And this is, it was the South American X-Men, or Inhumans, if you will. It was an enchanting story, and I know that I first caught bits and pieces of it when I was at Miranda's house hanging out with their kids, and they were loving it. They were second time through, they were loving it and singing through with it. So it is probably a pretty universal appeal. Now, you said this dropped in the theaters. I feel like I didn't hear anything about it until it was on Disney Plus. Was it just a very short run in the theaters, or did I
short run? I think it was like 45 days. I think that's what they're doing with a lot of their movies. 45 days, somewhere in there. Some are 45, some are longer. Like Inhumans drops next week, which would put it at 60 days. So
probably
because that's dropping
the 12th.
Of January. So
because that was one that April hasn't seen, and it was still in the theaters. We were trying to go see it, and we just couldn't make the time work. But no, I went to go see it initially because I had a conflict, and she couldn't make it. But I needed to see it because we were talking about it on the show. So
it was mandatory.
But it was mandatory fun that's happening.
Yeah, we almost saw this in theaters, but we decided to see Ghostbusters instead with the family when we were in Michigan. So, I mean, really, really Disney animation proper. And we did see Soul as well. Both of these movies,
that one I enjoyed.
Yeah, both of these movies are fantastic. One is by Pixar, the other's. Lots of good discussion after, what did you think? What did you feel after you saw it? Obviously, Soul's about music, which Logan is huge into jazz bands, so it worked really well. And we really enjoyed it. And I mean, it's great to have good animation and good stories that are heartfelt. And, it's not just the crap fest of a lot of animated movies like what was the last one? Pets 2 or something like that. Which is more of the same.
The Emoji Movie and the Trolls,
and I think Sing 2 is out in theaters right now. I'm not sure when it actually will go to streaming, but that's something where Logan really liked it. Maybe that'll be in streaming sometime soon. I don't know if that's a Universal one where maybe it'll come to Peacock. Maybe who knows?
Could be. So I enjoyed it too, and I'd highly recommend it. That is, of course, on Disney Plus, which you have it anyway. So don't resist.
Yes, enjoy the musicals from Disney because they've been really good lately. So check it out.
Yes, indeedly do. Well, my goodness, Todd, that kind of brings us to the close of the Geekies. Yeah, this is a very unusual episode because we're going to delve into the Thunderdome, and it's going to be a good. We got a lot to talk about because we are doing
A lot of meat on the bone, Charlie, this week.
know.
It's previews and predictions.
Previews and predictions. So let's flag down what do they call it? Koala Airlines to get us down under to the Thunderdome where we can put ourselves in front of the mutants. Tina, let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina! We're sitting in the Thunderdome, where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week, as I said, it is previews and predictions. This is what we know is coming in 2022 and our predictions of what we think will happen by the end of the year. And Charlie, next week I'll dig up what we predicted and if it came true or not, just to keep us on track, see how we did. But until then, we're going to start with previews of what we know and what will be coming, but with not all firm dates. We start with TV, Charlie. So actually something that's coming out January 11th, we get Naomi. This is a new DC Comics heroine. Brian Michael Bendis created her when he came over to DC, and she's a really cool character. I think she's got a 12-issue run. She is a new addition, and she is kind of a big fanboy of Superman. And then we find out she has a unique past. So I'll be curious to see if this one crosses over with Lois and Superman or not. But I like where they're going with introducing another new character.
You said kind of a fanboy. Is it kind of like Kamala Khan? Is it like kind of cheeky and like, fangirling?
Yeah,
okay,
she's a young African-American girl, probably 13, 14, doesn't have a real clear past. She's adopted.
Sounds very familiar. Yeah, you're gonna have to take a lead on these because you didn't give me a link. But what's funny is that a lot of them sound super familiar, so I'll be able to pick up a thread when you're talking. But I mean, this next one is not hard at all because we've all known about this. One of the most fun parts of the Suicide Squad in the summertime was John Cena's Peacemaker. And this is his show dropping. And I will admit, I don't think I watched the second trailer, but the first trailer was dynamite. Absolutely dynamite. Him hugging a bald eagle and just all kinds of crazy stuff. So this looks to be very satirical. I think Jason Patrick is a co-star, or at least
he's the dad.
The guest star is his dad. Yeah. So this looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, January 13th it's next week already. So yeah, time flies. So stuff is really been rolling off the shelf. So this would be fun. Without having it in front of me, I'm just going to give a standard guess that this will be 8 to 10 episodes, probably, because that's what most of these things are these days.
Definitely R-rated and weekly drops. Yep. Yeah, the first two are weekly drops. Yep. Right. The next one that you don't have any clue about because
it sounds familiar. So describe it to me.
Okay. Ever heard of Critical Role?
No, but the title of it sounds familiar because I've seen something. But
so Critical Role is a online phenomenon, I believe YouTube, whatever. It's about these people, these voice actors who have made basically essentially a online D&D game called Critical Role. They have gotten so popular, they crowdfunded an animated series. So popular, then it was picked up by Amazon Prime to make it. So it's essentially that voice cast in an animated show of essentially what they created. And this is just D&D fun. It's humorous, funny, doing fantasy stuff, and it's got a huge following. So this is going to be a big deal for a lot of people. They have a graphic novel out. They have the stuff on YouTube. I believe they even have some like D&D campaigns and things you can do with them. So yeah, it's coming out animated January 28th. Believe it'll be weekly drops again, maybe 10 episodes. So if you're curious, if you're not, it's there.
I think, and it's funny, I think I'm going to address this in my predictions about weekly. Yeah, I'm going to modify what I have written here about weekly drops versus straight dump because I have some thoughts about that.
You have concerns. The next one,
I don't know,
March
but anyway,
6th,
the next one,
it's called Shining Veil. It's going to be on Stars, and this one was interesting to me. Courtney Cox is in a supernatural comedy coming to Stars, which I don't know what's on Stars. I don't have it. It's a show. Once again, it's a network, a streaming network. I'm like, how are they still like alive and they haven't been bought out by somebody else? Because it's hard to spend $13 on Stars. because I just don't know if they have enough content ongoing. Maybe one show. Are they on? Are they? Is Outlander on Stars?
It is, and that's there was a date for that one, but I bet you skipped
Yeah,
it
I
on
think that's
purpose.
coming up.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I think
it's not a new show though, Charlie. It's just a.
Oh, I understand.
These are all new shows. Yeah,
I understand. Very good. Yes, that's very true. But yeah, no, I agree. And then the Shining Veil, of course, reminds me of Shining Time Station from Thomas the Tank Engine, which all three of my sons loved. But I assume that this does not have a Thomas Light connection. So tell us all about it.
I'll tell you it basically also stars Greg Kinnear, Mira Sorvino. Sorry.
Wow,
basically,
they
cash in their life savings, moved from their cramped Brooklyn apartment to an old Victorian mansion in Shining Vale, Connecticut. The move is part of a last-ditch effort to save their marriage after Pat engaged in a torrid affair with a hot handyman named Frank. Oh my goodness, that's a turn of event. So essentially then leads us in to find that the mansion may have stories that it wants to tell.
Ooh, interesting. But again, this would be one that, and again, that Outlander, which is my wife's favorite show, this could be one that we could watch concurrently. But again, Stars, who's the parent for Stars? Do we know?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Parent corporation. Because again, I think that we have Showtime now because it bundled in with Paramount Plus. We have the annual thing, and it was like $100 to do the annual Paramount, which we do because of the Star Treks, and it was $130 to slap Showtime on there. And because we have been watching two shows on Showtime right now, we've been watching Yellow Jackets, which is crazy, and we've been watching
a crazy show.
Dexter New Blood, which I think the last episode is this next upcoming week. If you want something nuts, Todd, again, you have access to my Showtime. I would invite you to check it out because it is wacky. But again, it's like this is what I said to April. Who the hell needs another show, right? But so I understand.
Exactly, and ultimately, like a network like Stars, I think, and even Showtime, pick it up when there's something you want to watch, because ultimately there's just not enough new content to keep you subscribed.
No, it's true.
They don't have enough premium shows. Like
and
HBO
that's
Max does,
and that's where the bundling comes into play. I don't know, computationally, I don't know how it means they make more money or whatever it is, but regardless, this next one, which we don't get until September, Todd, you know how I feel about the subject matter, but the thing about this that's most fascinating is it sounds like it's the most expensive thing that's ever been made.
Yeah, and that's where the game has been raised to do these type of shows. Amazon already dipped into The Wheel of Time, which was very expensive, like $10 million an episode, which is a lesser known commodity than The Lord of the Rings, which we are getting from Amazon Prime in September 2nd. Jeff Bezos, the Caucasian Mr. Worldwide, as if you saw the recent pictures.
I did.
He's got The Lord of the Rings coming. It's
bankrolled it off money he found in the cushions of his couch.
The dude can, if the dude can afford to get a spaceship, he can afford to bankroll this show off of our Amazon Prime subscriptions and our ill-begotten purchases. But yeah, this is coming. It's going to be very expensive. It's a new adaptation. It's not based off Peter Jackson. It's going to be off the books. What I'm hoping, and I think a lot of people are hoping, is those movies obviously only so long. Scrimped on some parts and did some different things.
They were long, but only so long, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, anything when you adapt a book, right? These are classics and they're very long. That when you make even a movie 3 hours, you're going to not get that characterization. You're not going to get those moments like you do in the book. So, having an opportunity to do a TV series will potentially give us a different perspective of a much beloved franchise that we have not seen since The Hobbit, which it was a doldrum for a lot of people. Yeah.
I can't disagree. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's our last dated show that I saw was a brand new geek genre show. But we have a long list of shows that are coming in 2022, but with no release dates. So we'll go through these fairly quickly. Charlie, if you want to hit the first one, because I think you're familiar with, obviously.
Absolutely. I think in a hell of a lot of these are spinoffs or remakes. So AMC is giving us Interview with the Vampire. That was a Anne Rice novel adapted in the early 90s with Brad Pitt and Sir Tom Cruise. And the young, what's her name?
Has he been knighted? I don't think he has.
No, it's been no, I just thought that was, should I call him Tom Cruise Esquire? I don't know. One of my least favorite celebrities. But yeah, I don't know a ton about it, but I would imagine potentially just like Lord of the Rings, it may follow the book. Oh God. Ooh, based on a card game. Todd, take it away.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with this, but I mean, I'm assuming they'll do something what they did with like that show Arcane I've been watching, where they take. I mean, they probably have novelizations, but it's essentially a card game. So basically, I got these cool illustrations in the cards. Looks really cool. I don't know if there's a cool story behind it. I don't know. A lot of people follow this game, and maybe they've created some lore. I don't know. It's coming to Netflix, Magic the Gathering, so it's there and it's coming.
Great, very good. Next,
did I have enough excitement for that?
That was good. You really packed it in. So next, whoops, just bumped my mic because my watch was doing something funny. Next, we have kind of the dynasty of Disney Plus coming in. We have Moon Knight starring Oscar Isaacs, which is going to portray the Egyptian Marvel Batman schizophrenic Moon Knight. Not really sure what bent that's going to take. We also don't really have a date, as is the case with all the stuff here. But I've always enjoyed the character. Again, he's gone to a lot of weird lengths. I think Mark Spector is the name of the original character. He was a soldier of fortune who, stumbled upon some Egyptian doodad that turned him into Moon Knight, and there you go.
Yeah, the Fist of Khonshu.
Yes,
getting nuts.
I hope
it's good. I mean,
what
else do we have? We have no other adaptation. He's never been. Has he been on a cartoon?
No. I don't believe he's ever been on a screen of really any.
Been in video games, but typically not the star. So
I can. Well, here's one that's had all the overexposure, and Todd, it's all the comfort food beat hitting that you could count on. Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think it's just called Kenobi, on Disney. So this is going to re-engage Ewan McGregor. Also, Hayden Christensen is going to be in the mix as Vader. I'm guessing, or just as Anakin Skywalker, I'm guessing they could employ flashbacks of some variety, because otherwise, what the hell difference would it make if he was just in the Black Iron Lung? It could be me. Throw me in there. I'll be great, because I'm the right height. But so this is going to be his time on Tatooine, presumably. But I guess I would imagine they have to get him off world at some point to do something, because how interesting could something else on Tatooine being set capture anybody's imagination? I don't know. So I would imagine this one will hopefully be filled with some surprises.
I hope so too.
We'll see.
I hope they veer. I hope they make you think it's going to be about one thing, and it's totally like he does a side mission to do something interesting, maybe with the Jedi that's not focused on Darth or Luke or something like that. Maybe it's a legacy thing. Maybe it's unrequited love now that he's basically a Jedi without a master. That type of thing.
Right. Could be unrequited love for his master. Interesting.
I didn't say that.
Oh no, Todd! Does this next one take us back to Raccoon City?
Oh my goodness! Resident Evil.
I just know that was the recent movie release in April. Looks at me and says, "What the hell is Raccoon City?" I'm like, "Why the hell are you asking me?" Let's get Oxford on the line.
It's named after Japanese developers thought that was a great name, and I'm like, I don't know.
Just call it
don't know,
just
Charlie.
Call it America Town. Why not?
Exactly. Yeah, Resident Evil has struggled on the silver screen. The last movie did not get good reviews, and I don't know when it's going to come
Raccoon City.
It's
something called Raccoon City to get good reviews. I'm sure.
Yeah, but I did see this Resident Evil series on Netflix is coming live action. Lance Reddick is in it, I believe. So I'm hoping maybe they can do something different with it and make it good. But my expectations are very low with Resident Evil with live action. Yeah, and even the animated stuff I've seen has been subpar at best. And I love the video games though. So, but it could be a franchise that just doesn't work in video games because you can do crappy things and weird things that just are insane.
I mean, maybe. So, is it live action or animated? Do we know?
It's live action.
Oh, okay.
This one's live action. They've done animated before.
Well, that is, and again, Netflix seems to be a drop it all at once type of, but we'll talk about that in a minute. It just, I feel like most of their stuff is that way. So
it is, maybe a few have been not, but
I feel like a few have been not. So I can agree with you there. But next up is, and this is funny, it's a sitcom vibe. Shorter in length per episode of the She-Hulk. Now we got Tatiana Maslany, who is in Orphan Black, which is a show that April loved very much. You've got the return of Mark Ruffalo and the return of Tim Roth as the Abomination, who we actually saw in Shang-Chi, which was pretty quirky. And he wears pants now too, I noticed. So he might be wearing pants in this, but I think they also have Jamila Jamil as Titania, who was a character from the original Secret Wars that was crafted on the Beyonders planet and actually kicked the shit out of the She-Hulk. So that could be kind of interesting as well. But I'm looking forward to this. I've always loved the She-Hulk. She's a heritage of the 1980s of the Avengers. She also filled in for the Thing in the Fantastic Four post-Secret War. So that's kind of when I became familiar with the character. She also had long, great runs by John Byrne, who is a creator that I love. So I'm fired up for this. But again, who the hell knows when? In 2022. That's what we know.
They got to start announcing some dates because
I know,
we've got
but it's
nothing on the vine for Marvel TV.
Only January 4th as we record this. So we'll cut them.
Yeah,
we'll cut them slack till
something in before
next week. They got till next week.
Before Doctor Strange, because it's going to be a long time until May comes around.
They gotta squeeze something into at least the end of first quarter. They're gonna be
I would
be
hope
dying.
so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, it's just so tricky because all the things they've laid down that it's like can they even play around with releases because they're all mixed together now. So yeah, it's gonna be fun though. I think it's gonna be a unique one. Comedy. Should be good.
I agree. Now this next one, and you talk about it, but this is the DC version of the character, but it's on Netflix and instead of HBO. Kind of weird.
Correct. I don't know why we are getting still properties from DC that play elsewhere than HBO Max. It's very weird. I don't understand it. We've had that before with like some of the Gotham shows around Fox. I don't understand it. It's weird, but it is what it is. This was probably in the mix before HBO Max, Charlie, is my guess.
Right. That would be the surefire thing. I would agree with you.
And it's an odd one because Neil Gaiman is heavily involved as the creator of Sandman. And this is something where we have only heard audio dramas, the comics, and that's it with the Sandman. Neil Gaiman is heavily involved in this. We've got a great cast: Jenna Coleman, David Thewlis, Stephen Fry, Patton Oswalt. Let's see who else. Gwendolyn Christie, is going to be a big character in this. A lot really good cast. David Thewlis. I'm excited for this, and it's supposedly will adapt the first collected story, Preludes and Nocturnes, and a little bit more. So if we're going at that pace, that's not great because there's like 8 or 9 collected volumes, unless you're doing 9 seasons, and very few shows on Netflix have got 9 seasons.
It all depends on if people are watching it. And again, I guess I'm not a good enough businessman to really understand the whole, this series is popular and making us money. I don't know. It all depends on who's signing up and not sharing their password with, 8 different people. Not that I'm guilty of that in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. But moving on to a show that I feel like is never going to come out, the 4th season of Stranger Things. We've had like 48 trailers over the last 2 years because the last season of this was on in 2019, early 2019. So we've had now 3 whole years gone by. So are the kids really teenagers anymore? I don't know. But yeah, we
filmed it.
Exactly. So yeah, we're getting kind of a California Dreamin' vibe. Was the last one where you see 11 is living on the left coast, but she obviously gets pulled back to Hawkins, Indiana, where there is a haunted house of some variety, and then hijinks clearly ensue. So they got to put this out this year because my God,
it's been a long time. Yeah,
they're really taking it to the limit, as the Eagles would say.
And it's only season 4. And we're supposed to get another season after this, so hopefully this
in another 17 years. But they'll film it now.
Absolutely. So next, hopefully a TV show, Willow, which you last saw on a movie screen in the mid 80s, will hopefully get a redemption, and maybe in the hands of some proper people as a series. It will bring fantasy to Disney Plus. I believe we are getting some returning champions to the TV series. It would be cool to see, obviously Mad Mardigan. I don't know if he's in the position to act anymore, but it would be cool to see him come back. Val Kilmer, maybe in a role where he's dying on his deathbed, he doesn't have to speak much.
Probably, yeah. He wouldn't have to go too far to the poor. So, this next one, I have no idea.
Okay.
I still have.
Do you want me to take the next 2? Next 3, maybe. I'll move these in order, so then it doesn't look like I'm dominating.
Take it away. You do what you want to do. You know what you want to do.
Well, you take the next one, Charlie. I just added in.
Okay, well, very good. Well, this is one that I have personally invested in. I love Anson Mount's portrayal of Captain Christopher Pike in Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which we got a nice teaser trailer for back on Star Trek Day in September. This is presumably, though we don't know for a fact, taking place after the portrayal of these characters launched in season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, which was last year, at the end of last year, or excuse me, 2019. So super very cool. Great to see, to pick up some threads of maybe some things that happened back then. But again, we have Ethan Peck as a young Lieutenant Spock, and we have Rebecca Romaine as number 1, the first officer of the ship. So very fired up to see where they go with this, and of course giving me opportunity to buy more Starfleet uniforms. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to more new Star Trek, because the last new show we got was The Prodigy, which I do need to get back to, but I really enjoy it.
Comes back this week. It's on this week.
Yes. So next we've got The Witcher Blood Origin. This is essentially telling the history of the Witchers, how they became 1,200 years before, though. So this is far in advance. It's not going to be a cameo fest because they don't live forever. But the cool part is Michelle Yeoh is going to be a lead in this, and that is fantastic. I love her so much. The fact that she is discovering so much fame in the later half of her career, it's wonderful. I love what they've done with Netflix. I've watched the animated version. I love the games. It's really become one of my favorite new franchises that they're managing in so many different mediums.
Awesome. Hey, if you love it, you love it. It's not for me, but I know it's for a lot of people are telling me just how great it is. So that is pretty cool. I like it. I like it. And again, Todd dipping into gotta flip over all the rocks. This one I will admit I have a little bit bigger interest in, because it's Star Wars again. It's about the character of Cassian Andor, who we met in the Star Wars Rogue One story. And this is a spy thriller. Cassian Andor was part of Rebel intelligence. So he was going around doing the dirty deeds and the bad stuff to further the cause of the rebellion, which is that's where I live in Star Wars. That's kind of my favorite piece. So I would say of the Star Wars stuff, I'm probably the most excited for this one. This one really fires me up. But again, would love to know. I'm thinking all these Disney Plus shows must all be 6 episodes, because how else with 52
I think you're right.
With 52 weeks in a year, and then interspersing them with the Marvel shows, and they don't want to run. They've been running 2 at the same time, have they? So they've just been like, here's 6 of Star Wars, here's 6 of Marvel, here's 6 of Star
Sometimes
Wars.
they do overlaps, but I don't think we've got one coming up, though. We don't have anything.
No, exactly. So yeah, you're right. They better get on the button, or they're just going to let us know stuff's being moved. So anyway,
exactly.
I like
Charlie, but you should be excited because guess who's back? Mon Mothma.
Woo! She's my actress Genevieve O'Reilly from Ireland.
God, you nailed it, Charlie. Woo.
I know. You'd almost think I do a Star Wars podcast, but forgot that obviously Thrawn has red eyes, which I've not lived down yet.
If they can veer on this one, once again, if they can veer and just do a really cool side story that isn't about taking down the Empire, doing different things, gets us some intel about some future threat that hasn't been realized and can be developed far past, that would be cool.
Right. The long tie-in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So, well, cool. All right. So what's next?
Yes, House of the Dragon. This is going to be debuting, I believe, in the back half. Might probably guess like an October, November premiere. This is going to be the first official second series in Game of Thrones. This is taking place with the former leaders of the Game of Thrones audience, the Dragon King, essentially. Matt Smith is in the lead role, I believe, or at least he's the king. And we get some more we get to hear more about what the world was like before then. I think it's like 90 years before, so it's not as far as I would like it to be away, but still, if they don't hit too much like, oh, remember that guy? That's his grandpa.
Right.
Don't want that, but it could be cool.
Get very Star Warsy. You certainly don't. You certainly don't want that deal. So next up is kind of a return to dealing with the Skrulls in the Marvel Universe. It's Secret Invasion on Disney Plus. We know that we're getting Sam Jackson returning. We're knowing that we're getting Colby Smulders on her way to the mall as Maria Hill. Bendo Mendo will be coming back as Talos, the head Skrull dude. And so yeah, we last got a little taste of them at the end of Spider-Man. Far From Home, and obviously spinning off of their original appearance in the period piece of Captain Marvel set in the 1990s. So this is awesome. Secret Invasion, of course, refers to a early 2000s Marvel comic crossover where we found out that a lot of the key heroes and villains that we know of were all Skrulls, and their original counterparts had been Skrulled away to a Skrull planet and came back to Earth to foil the Skrulls from enacting their final takeover of the planet. So I will look forward to see how they're going to adapt that.
This is going to be cool if they can pull it off and have some fun with it,
right,
and introduce some new things. Hopefully we'll see how that goes.
Things,
once again, we got a lot of shows out here, guys. Can't put everything in the back half. You can't do it.
Well, or they're going to have to start doubling
they
up.
could, but it would be a little bit cramped.
Something's on Tuesday. Something comes out on Tuesday. Something comes out on Thursday. Make it happen.
Yeah, not sure if they're going to do that, Charlie. They like to have that event era where it's just one focus.
It's something that rules for a week. Well, they've only got 52 weeks, and they've already burned up at least the first 4 of them. So get it together, guys.
Yeah, next we've got The Last of Us. This is a Sony joint coming to HBO Max. Sony doesn't have a streaming service, so they are partnering up. I will talk more about that in the predictions. But essentially, this is a great story about a virus outbreak that essentially puts mankind at risk for ending. And these are the survivors, The Last of Us. And this one will focus once again on the end of humanity and a special relationship between 2 people. A man who's to protect a girl that he really doesn't want to, and the girl who doesn't want to be protected by the man as he protects her on a cross-country trek. And finding that, once again, who is the most dangerous among us, Charlie?
Always the other people.
Correct. So I can't wait for this. Looks cool. The creator of the game is actually going to be involved in the script writing, but the creative staff is by the people who made Chernobyl. So this, once again, should be elevating the level of video games in another media, which is great.
Sweet. Swinging back to Disney Plus, Ms. Marvel. This is actually a nice tee-up of not only one of the best original characters that we've had in the 21st century from Marvel, that is Kamala Khan, who I was talking about a little bit earlier in the broadcast, as the fangirl superhero who takes a big old sniff of those Terrigen crystals and becomes an Inhuman. So we're going to see her, this character portrayed, but this is actually going to spin into Captain Marvel 2, or The Marvels, which will be then again Carol Danvers, played by Brie Larson. We'll also be getting Monica Rambeau back as Photon / Spectre / Ms. Captain Marvel, whatever it is. And then this Kamala Khan character as well. So this will set that up. I don't know that we've heard of any co-starring characters with this. So I get a feeling, since we have such limited information, this might be a little bit later on in the year. But everything feels like it's later in the year right now because we don't.
Well, we've seen lots of like her in your costume and things like that. So I think we've seen more of this than we have the other series. So this one could be nearer than I think we get. But very cool. And maybe we'll get a flim flam, Charlie. Since the Inhumans were not so popular, maybe they change her origin story. She's not an Inhuman, but maybe she's a mutant, which would be a great flim flam.
They could do it. It's a good flim flam. Todd, this next one I know in its original form was one of your absolute favorites.
Yes. So Avatar: Last Airbender, great animated series, horrible movie by Mr. M. Night. But we are hoping we get a redemption as the creators are back and they are bringing Avatar: The Last Airbender in a series to Netflix. The funny part is I thought this was owned by Nickelodeon, Viacom, but maybe this was developed well before Paramount Plus came out. So once again, it's one of those things.
Gotcha.
Hopefully they nail this, and the cast looks great.
Shake it, don't break it. Captain America, the Cape Crusader. Captain America. Woo!
It's not a cape.
That would be Batman, the Cape Crusader. We talked about this one. I'm thinking, I don't know if I know what this one is. We talked about one that's going to be.
Yeah, this is the original creator of Batman the Animated Series is coming back to Batman Animated on HBO Max.
Okay.
So this is highly anticipated for animation fans.
Gotcha. Very good. And what do we know about it?
Not much.
It's Batman.
Not much.
It's Batman. I will tell you, I'll do a little piece of this next one because we were watching a movie on Pluto. Todd, you'll appreciate this. We picked an old movie to watch on Pluto last night.
You were in space on Pluto?
Yes, on Pluto. No, on Pluto, the app. And it's movies for free because they'll have commercial blocks of like 10 commercials in a row. Well, apparently the good people at Paramount Plus, I don't know if that's what April said. Is Paramount Plus own this because it's all their stuff for the spots. So I saw like this commercial for Halo, which is going to be on Paramount Plus, like 5 times, and I was like, ooh, wow, that looks, because I mean, I've heard smatterings of it, the Master Chief and burr, and it's this big space thing, and they got the big ships and this and that. So I am kind of excited for this one myself, believe it or not. Looks pretty sweet.
Yes. First answer: Pluto is owned by Viacom, Charlie.
There you go.
Yes,
Nice.
it makes sense. Everybody's getting into that like free streaming with commercials, content,
Right.
85
plug.
things. Yeah, but Halo is, I think, an easy one. Well, it'll be difficult and easy pull off. It's a space marine who has to take on aliens. I mean, how cool is that? The mythology is a little weird, get a little creative and things like that, but it's basically aliens who want to take over the world, and you're a space marine who's basically been augmented to take on this threat. But the problem is Master Chief, who you saw in the big armor, does not speak a lot and doesn't take off his helmet. So very similar to the Mandalorian. We saw the Mandalorian pull it off. I think they could do the same thing. Man of few words, but the supporting cast brings out the personality. So it could be good. And it's Microsoft, so they got billions of trillions of dollars. So
as long as we get a cute child that needs to be rescued, because isn't that really the formula?
Yes, as Mandalorian season 3, we'll be introducing a baby Ewok. We haven't seen an Ewok in a long time. It's the last Ewok. They were all killed off by Jar Jar Binks in his.
Right. Oh, warlord Jar Jar Binks.
He tripped and dropped a thermo detonator the size of a planet on the indoor moon planet. There you go. And the Ewoks are dead except for this one Ewok baby.
Oh my God, you just wrote the whole thing. But yeah, Mando season 3, it was funny because April and I asked her, because Mark and I are going to record kind of our looking forward to Star Wars here in a little bit. And I said to April yesterday, I said, what would you, I mean, here's the things that are coming out. What are you into? She says, well, Mando season 3, because and I said, yeah, because now, Bo Karen and the wrestler chick and Cara Dune will mysteriously disappear, and then Mando have this Imperial cruiser, and they're going to go to Mandalore, and they're going to wreck shop. So I'm excited to see what that's like. Maybe Luke and Baby Yoda will pop in at the end, just to give people the fan, because it's Star Wars.
Miss you.
Gotta have that fan service.
Visitation. Did he get visitation?
Yes, exactly. Well, he will have to have that in some way, shape, or form. So, oh my God, that was an exhaustive list. That's
Charlie. We got a lot of stuff coming, but we don't have dates. So they better start announcing these damn things, or it's going to be a very crowded back half. All right, we are done with TV. We are moving on to movies very quickly. We don't have a huge roster, but we already have some updates to this. We do have Scream, the new Scream movie. I don't know. Remember, it's Scream 4, Scream 18. Don't know. It's coming out January 14th. I'm very excited for that.
5 or 6. I always enjoy those. I mean, you want to talk about formulaic and comfort food. They're never going to break real big ground with the Scream movie, but we've already had one big change since you dropped this, man, and that would be Morbius, which was supposed to come out on January 21, is now coming out in April, I think, or May.
Yes, coming in April.
Yeah, yep. So Sony clearly has fears about the possible new flare-up of the coronavirus, which you can completely understand. So we will be seeing that one after we see, assuming the state doesn't change as well, The Batman with Rob Bat and Bat, which we just got a kind of a tasty new trailer for that one as well. We did. So, Batman, say what you will, like, well, it's just not very much like this thing or that thing. And I mean, Batman it's its own living entity. It's going to be in different interpretation every time out. So I take it all. I've seen all different versions of Bat dudes and stuff. So I'm all about this. I think this, I will give this its fair shake with the, Nirvana style Batman, the Kurt Cobain Batman, I think someone said, with his soccer dude bangs and his mascara. Awesome.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not buying yet is the Riddler S&M duct tape outfit, but you know what? I'm going to see how it works. But everything else, I'm really curious to see how this comes together. I hope it goes well, because I hope they dig deep into the detective work, show us something new with Batman that we haven't seen before, because that's what you can always do with Batman.
True.
And bring them into the modern age, because last one we got was Ben Affleck with Zack Snyder. So I'm ready for new Batman.
Yes, absolutely. I saw a trailer for this one in front of something fairly recently, and this is the latest Pixar is Turning Red, the story of there's a typo in this article. The story of a girl who turns into a giant red panda when she gets excited. Oh boy, it's the reverse of
It's like a puberty tale, I believe.
It's the reverse of the Hulk in that she's red, not green, and she gets excited, not angry. So it's a reverse Hulk. Call the movie the Red Reverse Hulk.
Yes.
So yeah, that looks like fun. We'll skip the next one because nobody cares. And we'll go to April the 8th. What comes out on April the 8th, Todd?
Oh, this should be fun. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We saw a trailer at the movie awards, or the video game awards. It's a pretty quick release from that first trailer, April 8th. And once again, they're just upping the stakes. We got Idris Elba as Knuckles. Jim Carrey's back with an awesome mustache. It looks good. Tails is going to debut. It's just more Sonic. If you liked it, I hope this is as good as the last one was and not worse.
I love it. My son is a huge fan, so that makes me a huge fan too. So, secondly, here's one that put out a trailer that actually made me care about it. This would be part 3 of the Fantastic Beasts, part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So this looks like fun. So we're getting Jude Law as Dumbledore again, and Eddie Redmayne, Todd's favorite actor. And Mads Mikkelsen is now Grindelwald because Johnny Depp did something to get himself thrown out. I don't really recall.
We don't need to bring that up.
Okay, very good. But anyway, that's why. And like I think we talked about this previously, it makes sense because Grindelwald's a shapeshifter, yada, yada, yada. Trailer looked very exciting. With a bluey kablooey. So I
hope the series can take a pivot to actually being interesting and with some, I would say, maybe more energetic actors can get people really into this franchise versus Eddie Redmayne cannot run a franchise. He just doesn't have the energy, doesn't have the charisma.
Johnny Mumblebutt? No, he most certainly cannot. But speaking of charisma in spades, that would be the May 6th release of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Or as the people on that This Week in Marvel always say, Marvel's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because it could be somebody else's Doctor Strange. You don't know. You got to be clear. So anyway, we got a pretty solid trailer for this as a stinger at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, which kind of annoyed me, but here we are. But yeah, he's getting in the mix with Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff. We're also getting the character of America Ferrera, which is a newer character from the last couple of decades. And then we're getting our first
America Ferrera, is that her name?
Did I know America Chavez?
Like I know her from Ugly Betty's in this.
Nailed it. Yes. Ugly Betty. No, America Ferrera. Well, no, thanks for catching. That it's that Superstore crossover to the MCU you've been waiting for. But anyway, we're also getting the first that I can think of animated to live action MCU crossover with evil Doctor Strange from What If. Am I right? Is that the first animated one?
It is. I believe so. Yeah, we could get more in this movie too.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Yeah. Give me Captain Carter. Captain Carter.
Yeah, the evil, or we could get the undead Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, all the zombies. Yeah. I love it. I'm totally on board. Sounds like awesome.
Then we get DC's League of Super Pets. We've talked about this. The trailer looks great. It looks fun. DC makes really good when they nail the funny animated part. They do really well with the Lego and the movies we've seen before, Teen Titans. So I hope this is good. And Dwayne Johnson. And this is going to be, big movie for the kids, which we don't have one that I saw here. We don't have any kids movies, so except for Sonic. But yeah, cool.
Absolutely correct. And then next up is a movie that I feel like they probably filmed about 10 years ago. That would
Feels
be
like
Top Gun 2 Maverick. I don't remember that they actually called it Maverick. Maybe they changed that up, or maybe I didn't notice. So This is another one of those sequels that you don't know if you want it. It scares the shit out of me because we've gotten a string of those in recent years, including most recently The Matrix a couple of weeks ago, which none of us really had fun with. Todd, you did finally see it, right?
I am not done because movies are 2.5 hours now, and I'm like, God, when am I going to find? So I watched the first part of it, and I need to finish it.
Oh, then we will leave it alone. But anyway, yeah. So we're seeing Pete Mitchell, Maverick, as a aging Navy captain, finally ordered back to Top Gun, where he comes face to face with the adult son of his dead former flying partner. That would be Goose. And it's lots of flying and stuff. And this is absolutely one that you got to see in the theaters. But yeah, planned July 2019 release. So this will be almost 3 years after its original release. This is going to come out, if it comes out then. So I'm excited to see it, but I get a feeling it won't exactly be Shakespeare in the Park. But I know it will be Shakespeare in the Park. And Todd, I think this is your most highly anticipated film of the year. So you go ahead.
I don't know if this is actually happening. So Bob's Burgers is getting a movie, which we've seen that with The Simpsons. Bob's Burgers. I just have heard nothing. There's been nothing to say there's a movie coming out.
Right.
So this could just be flim flam, Charlie. Apparently it was supposed to be scheduled for September 21st, 2021, but we wouldn't even have got a trailer. So I just don't know if this is happening. So I hope it is, but it's probably not.
Right.
And where would this show up on Hulu? Maybe because Disney Plus does not have Bob's Burgers, even though it's perfect because there's nothing offensive.
Right.
It would be a good place for it.
Oh, offensive is obviously so subjective. So, regardless, then we get and this is a franchise I kind of wish would go away. I'm not going to.
I haven't seen any of these new ones, and I have
the Jurassic World.
To be honest, yeah,
it is 100% lather, rinse, repeat comfort food. Why do we go back to the island with all the dinosaurs? So Jurassic World 3. This would be because the last one was Fallen Kingdom, so the island was falling apart. They had to rescue some dinosaurs. Blah blah blah. And there is no description of this in any way, shape, or form.
It's dinosaurs, Charlie. What else?
And you don't really need a human actor, so that's okay. This next one, though, I've seen the trailer for a couple times, and I'm excited. So, Todd, go ahead.
Yeah, Lightyear looks awesome, and this is essentially a reverse where you essentially have the series of Buzz Lightyear that inspired the toys that were in Toy Story. So this is like a live action, I guess you would say, Buzz Lightyear, and it looks really cool. And we got Chris Evans playing Buzz, which is not Tim Allen, and it's very odd, but it looks really cool. And this creates a universe of Buzz Lightyear with aliens and fun. This could be great. It could be a cool new take on sci-fi and animation with Disney.
I totally agree. Next up, Todd, I should have saved this one for you.
I'll take it since you're yawning.
Thor: Love and
Thunder, July 8th, 2022, which for some reason I thought this was coming out in the fall. But regardless, I'm glad it's coming out early because I loved the last Thor movie. I love Thor. Yes. He's one of my favorite characters. And since we're on video, I can show you my tattoo. There you go. Another reason to watch the video.
Yes, that's the reason right there. You gotta have it.
But we're getting Natalie Portman returning, apparently coming to be the Lady Thor. Or just Thor as the lady, and that could be kind of cool if it's pulled off well. We've got Chris Hemsworth, Tess Thompson, Taika Waititi, and this one is also going to include the Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe. And I'm curious to see what the big bad is. It's supposed to be Gore, this god killer who is played by Christian Bale. That is a new character, so it's part of new mythology within Marvel Comics as well. So it's a part of a more of a recent comic series. So I'm going to be curious how they pull that off because they totally batched Malekith. Maybe they'll get this right, but I can't wait. I love the sense of humor and what they've done with Thor versus making him kind of boring.
Who is to say, my friend? Who is to say? So next up, then, very forgettable, 7. Mission Impossible 7. There's no plot details because there's not going to be any plot. September 30.
There's going to be masks, maybe. Betrayal.
And
spies.
Tom Cruise hanging from the side of something. But more interestingly than that, Todd, you got 2, so I'm still another one. Chris Miller, and is this Chris Miller and Phil Lord? Tweeted in April of last year about the date that has been pushed to this date of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where we got not really a trailer a little while back that was just seeing Miles and Gwen bouncing in front of Oscar Isaacs playing Miguel O'Hara as Spider-Man 2099. So I like it.
It's a good time slot too because it's like right in the middle of where nothing big is coming out.
Right.
Big fans. I love the slot. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be awesome. And it's the one area I trust Sony to make something good when it comes to superheroes.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. We get into Flash.
Oh, could be the game changer.
I hope so. There's a lot of interest in this movie. So this is essentially the second DC film of the year. Well, third if you count Super Pets. The Flash. This apparently will be Flashpoint. We saw some teasers. We know we are going to get some classic cameos, which can be done well or horribly wrong. We'll see how this works. Ezra Miller is a kind of a mixed bag of odd, weird charisma that hopefully he's pulled off well. And I can't remember who's directing this, but I hope it goes well because DC.
Right?
The way we're getting this is essentially if the Batman works and the Flash works, we can wash the bad taste of Wonder Woman 84 out of our mouth and get some good stuff moving forward.
Wash that man right out of your hair. There you are.
I love this next film, Charlie.
Oh, skip it. Untitled Disney film.
Yeah,
Great.
let's move on. Yep.
Yes. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Written and directed by Ryan Coogler, who I believe he had a big run on the comics, didn't he? Wasn't he? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I think you're thinking of someone else.
I'm thinking of someone else. It's on the tip of my tongue. What's the big Black Panther run? Coates was the last name of the
Natisi Coates, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that was the run. Mm-hmm. But yeah, obviously the script has been tweaked since passing of Chadwick Boseman. So we could look to see Suri, the character of Suri, his sister, take the lead, or maybe they'll go in a totally different direction. But the Submariner has been rumored as being as being a villainous character in this. So
I heard Ironheart might be involved in this as well.
Right. So that would be cool. So another untitled Disney film. We'll skip that. And then we're into December with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Woo! It's lost.
Yes. So hopefully, I enjoyed the first one. It was a light action adventure type of like Indiana Jones looking for the Deus Machina thing, the red herring, the whatever you want to call the MacGuffin. Yeah, I mean, I hope this is fun. Aquaman Lost Kingdom. It could be fun. We get Dolph Lundgren back underwater. Why not? It's light. It's stupid. It's fun. It's Aquaman.
It's light. It's stupid. It's fun. It's Aquaman.
Yeah, then lastly, Charlie, I know you're excited. Everybody's excited about this happening. Avatar 2, December 16th. So it's a face-off between Aquaman and Mr. Jim Cameron with the blue people under the water, apparently. That's where we're going in this one. I don't have anything to say about this. I will be curious to see if it has the attention that the first movie had, especially with 3D being such a huge part. I don't know if people are even making 3D movies, have 3D theaters. So without that, is it an event anymore, or is it just another weird sci-fi series?
I don't know. I just, the first Avatar was like, oh, it's the biggest film of all time, and this thing and that thing, and I just really didn't end up caring for it. But then again, it made all that money, so somebody somewhere did. So that's where it's at. So we'll see if lightning in that bottle can twice be struck.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of the franchise, I just love to hear like what excites you about the whole world of Avatar. I just despise the look of the aliens and the way I just did find nothing appealing at all about that world.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It could be, and again, with it being over 10 years gone by, it could be the nostalgia goggles of a childhood audience that's now grown. And that's what's going to drive it.
Our preview of 2020. Just lastly, though, Image turns 30 this year, Charlie, in 2022. Who would have thought? Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, all those guys. Congratulations on 30 years.
Not bad. Still, are they still, and they're still kicking it? What are they still producing?
Yeah, they're Invincible. What's his name? Robert Kirkman is one of the owners of Image.
There we go.
So yeah, they're just doing really cool comics and putting a lot of stuff in the streaming realm. So yeah, so we're getting to our predictions now. So we've got 3 categories: TV, movie, and we said general trend, but it could be anything else that's a non-catch-all, collectibles, whatever. So we're gonna do the first one, which is TV. So Charlie, you go to TV, and you do yours, and I'll do mine.
Okay. Now, I had alluded to this a little bit earlier, and I think, with the exception of Netflix, this is kind of happening. But I just feel like a kind of a product puke or just a dump of all the episodes of a show. I think it's kind of passe. People do love it, and that's one thing. But again, we're living in a world where it's how the corporations can make their bucks, and they're not going to make their bucks by you taking a weekend to knock through Stranger Things and then canceling your Netflix for some other reason. They've got to keep you on the line. So I feel like this could be a trend that's going to continue to persist. I don't know if that means that things are returning aren't going to be the way that they were, but I think you're still going to see shows that come out and encourage, for obvious reasons, the fact that they want to release things weekly and keep them in tone. I think that, and this cracks me up, the more memes I see, the more people bitching about it. All the Star Trek shows that are expiring off of Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, and people can't understand why. At least in this country, because I know things vary around the world. That is something that is, buckle up. It's what's going to happen. People who own IPs are going to bring those IPs exclusively to streaming services that they control. It's business. So I think you're going to see more of that. And Todd, you predicted this too. Services like Netflix or Hulu or Prime are going to continue to lose things that they don't own. They're going to let those lapse, and they're going to be spending their money on producing their own original content, because that's the entertainment world that we live in. So I think, and particularly us us as a culture, having spent the last nearly 2 years sitting on our couch watching things, there's more and more of a focus on it all the time.
I totally agree with you, Charlie. I just think the whole point of dropping something all at once came from kind of a myth that it's always been that way. It came about because Netflix had old series that were already done, and you could watch them.
Right.
And then they made House of Cards. House of Cards came out in like 2013, so it's not like this has been forever. No, it's just that was Netflix's plan. And we've seen that Netflix has started to cancel shows that don't perform in 3 weeks.
Right.
That's just silly. It's just like, you were going to waste all that movie to make money to make all these sets and everything, the actors, all this development, to not do a series 2. You're not giving it time to grow an audience, to find a word, to get buzz. And I feel like shows that are dropped weekly continue to get engagement, tell people it's there. And guess what? After 8 weeks, if you wanted to wait to binge it, wait 8 weeks. It's there, and people will tell you like all about it. So,
and you end any season with a bang, and people are going to be hanging on the line. Some show we were watching just ended, and they're like, well, got to wait another year. Oh, the Cobra Kai, which you and I both watched. What the hell's going to happen next? Well, I'll catch you in a year and you can find out.
Exactly.
So
it's like,
they're going to keep
worst enemy, because I want to watch it all, but I'm like, well, I'm done with it, and I'm not talking about the show again.
Well, exactly.
In the next 12 months.
And thank God they have that huge ass recap, because I don't remember anything that happened, because again, the impact that it made was over a year ago. So it wasn't, 9 months ago, which it doesn't sound like it's a huge difference, but it's more impactful. And again, you're right, growing buzz. So yeah, somebody watches it, or then like, oh, I watched 3 episodes and then I went on to something else because it didn't hook them. So yeah, there's definitely different ways to look at it. Netflix does seem to be the primary culprit to it, but yeah, change with the times. This is what other people are doing, and it's ensuring loyalty in a competitive marketplace.
Yeah, we want that, water cooler moment. We want things to talk about every week. The Game of Thronesification, like, hey, what's going to happen? That's more exciting to me about than, did you watch it? No, I guess we got to wait 8 weeks till you watch it to talk about it.
Right.
That's just silly to me.
Right,
so, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, well. So and TV, I'm going this direction. I think we're going to see more consolidation in streaming. And I think we're going to see potentially Apple get big into the game to buy someone that makes a lot of content. Apple has Apple TV Plus with a little bit of content.
Right.
They don't have a library.
Dribble.
How do they get there? They buy Sony.
Right.
Sony has a huge music library. I think, I can't remember what they own, but they bought like somebody huge, and they have a huge library of musical content, which they have for their Apple service. Movies, they have a huge, Columbia, their properties, and guess what they own? Spider-Man.
Right.
It's a huge moneymaker.
They're hanging on to that nugget. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Apple's has $3 trillion. They have more money than God. So at this point, they got money to do that, and they want content. They want to get people on their services paying $5 to $10 a month. And they also have a huge TV production studio. Think of all these shows that Sony makes that you don't even know they make. And Sony doesn't have a streaming service. So essentially, they're up for grabs. And if Sony doesn't want to sell off their video game business, they don't have to. They can continue to make electronics and video games, but they sell off their media properties, which I think makes a ton of sense. And they can do the right thing. Or they could take it partial and get into the video game business with their Apple TV.
Could be. Well, Todd, I think we can consolidate this movie one into us being kind of spy versus spy, because we have exactly opposing viewpoints. I think summer movie season is going to.
My last one. My last.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yes, Green Lantern TV series gets a trailer at DC Fandom, and it debuts in 2023.
I totally agree. All right, sorry, I'm just trying to move us along, so we're a little short on time. But yeah, you and I are spy versus spy on this next one because I absolutely think in the movie world, the summer movie season could potentially get kicked in the nads and get put on hold again, and we might see day and date come back. No, I'm sorry, that's also my general trend. I guess I kind of rolled those into one. So I feel like day and date, while people really did enjoy it, it's death to the movie theaters, which I don't wish death on them. I love the movie theaters, April, and I love going to the movies, but I'm getting increasing fear that COVID could return us to those levels of sitting on the couchness, and especially with this big shot in the arm of huge programming. Everything that we talked about of new programming is all streaming content. So it worries me. It does worry me.
I think 2022 becomes an endemic, not a pandemic. We have the tools in the toolbox to actually get back to normal life. And I think COVID just becomes, you'll know everybody who has COVID, but it doesn't shut down the world anymore. It doesn't, because we have medication. We have these things that we didn't have before. So it's a different world. You saw people come up for Spider-Man, Charlie. You are seeing
very true.
China had one of its biggest box office years of all time in the middle of a pandemic. I just think you saw how movies did horribly when they were day and date. They didn't get any buzz. They didn't do big. Matrix came out day and date. Guess what? I don't have to see the movie. It was a movie people would potentially have gone to see in the theater, but because why would I do that? And so I think you see that it reduces a revenue stream, and Hollywood loves revenue. Day and date doesn't create, and essentially right now I'd say streaming services are kind of peaked. There's not much they can do. Disney Plus can't double their members now. So if they can't, unless they charge double for the service, they want another Spider-Man. They want another movie. So I just don't think, and I think what you're going to see is potentially a shortening of that window, though. 45, 60 days. If they can get that initial pop, and anybody like us, you and me, who can't wait.
Right. And again, if you think of the success of any film, it happens in the first 1 to 3 or 4 weeks. Think about it. I mean, look at, standard box office performance dropping by 40 to 70% from even week 1 to week 2. Yeah. So yeah, no, I would agree with that. I have the fear. I still have the fear, and again, I'm triple vaccinated myself, but still seeing the hospitals fill up and hearing about people who so ardently won't get vaccines, it scares me. So I just don't know.
I just think it's part of everyday life now. I don't think people are going to take another year of not being around others because we have the toolbox now. And I think the people that will be sick, as we know, are the people that are not vaccinated. And if they choose not to participate, it's not going to get me in the way of me enjoying life. And I think a lot of people are in that boat. And a lot of people are willing to risk not being vaccinated and doing things.
You've completely changed my mind. All right, take us home. Take us home.
So we disagree. I think the summer movie season is going to be back in a big way, because if people came out for Spider-Man in the middle of winter when you're in exposed space in the cold, I think you'll go to a summer movie and you'll have a good time. Kids will want to go and do stuff. So I think that's where it's coming back. My big prediction with movies is Star Wars will announce a major movie update at Star Wars Celebrations. It's about time.
And one that sticks. One that they're not going to cancel, for God's sakes.
At this point, Star Wars is a TV franchise now.
Right.
Essentially, you saw the movies all kind of go like this, and we got more things, more output. We probably got more output on TV than we ever had in the movies anyways, and that's what's creating all the buzz. And the movies have a lot to prove now, and quite honestly, a 2-hour film, is it that big of a deal compared to what you get on the screen on Disney Plus now? So they have to do something big with the movies if they're going to. And I hate that the fact that the movies are the only thing that can drive Star Wars. I hate that, because it means that you have to wait until a movie that's only 2 hours long can come up before you can do anything else in that universe. It just seems very short-sighted. So I'm hoping that is a change where the movies are additive, just like the MCU, because MCU is doing it right. They understand the TV series and the movies are part and parcel with the bigger picture, where Star Wars is like, the TVs, I don't know. We're seeing that's what's keeping the franchise alive right now. Because if you don't have anything for 5 years on the screen,
you mean like
essential? Yeah.
You mean like Avatar?
Yeah.
That's where I have my big doubts. Yeah.
So if you don't have a movie for 5 years, that tells me right there that says the movies are essentially unessential for Star Wars.
Right. No, yeah. Nobody cares. That's not how they're doing it.
Yeah, because they kind of just Yeah. So, but I think, and celebrations may go virtual. It's in May of 2022. It may go virtual, which I think would still be good for the majority of us who can't afford to go.
The vast, well, and even if you could afford to go, how great of an experience it is to be crammed into just seeing something on a video screen, but you're standing in a room full of people. So
absolutely,
I would rather have it. And again, those shows are kind of a dog and pony show. I just look for the news. And again, we live in this virtual news cycle where the information will come to you anyhow. So anyway, all right, Todd, take us home with your general trend.
Yes, because I think you already used yours, but
yes.
I will do mine. I think with more retro characters coming back, like we've seen with, the Spider-Verse and all these things, I think we're going to see a major crossover with Hasbro Universe. I think because G.I. Joe's been largely unsuccessful, the Transformers are trying to figure out where they're going. I think we're going to see a crossover with those Hasbro Universe franchises. Maybe they can find some synergy and have some fun like we saw in the original Transformers comic, G.I. Joe, Spider-Man crossing over. I think that would be a lot of fun, and maybe do it animated this time. Rather than
I have 4 letters for you: M, A, S, S, K. Mask. Mask.
Mask. Yeah.
Give it to me. Yes, that would be a property. And again, it was kind of quasi rolled into the G.I. Joe universe because there was a Matt Tracker action figure that was part of the G.I. Joe 25th anniversary series in 2007. So that always made me chuckle. So, are they one and the same? Is, Miles Mayhem going to team up with Destro? I don't know. But yeah, it would be cool. What else is under Hasbro's belt besides those 2 big that they could?
I think My Little Pony, which seems like an odd combination.
There you go.
I think they see Rom the Space Knight now.
I see Snake Eyes riding on pudding pie or whatever the hell those things are called. Woo!
Lightning Tusk, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So that is our predictions, folks. Let us know. We talked about what we're going to see, what could be. Let us know what your predictions are in the year of 2022. So, Charlie, that is it for our essential first episode we recorded in 2022.
Oh, yes.
Last, and hopefully I'll have some new guests and have a good time in the year to come.
Absolutely. And yes, let's say Katie Q was supposed to join us tonight. She was ill. We wish her well. Hope she's feeling better by the time this drops. But anyway, folks, we're on our way out of here. I have been Charlie Carden. You can find me over on Twitter at the C3. I also run the Facebook page for the Secret Friends Unite, posting content which is hopefully sometimes useful. And I also run the USS Grand Petoskey Star Trek Fan Club chapter here in Michigan, which can be found on all socials and ussgrandpetoskey.com.
You can find me at T-Oxtra to talk about all things grumpy in the world of nerd.
Yes.
And angry sports fans with the Minnesota Vikings. So check me out. I'm always having a good time on the Twitters. And if you want a video game with me, you can listen to our Cope Mode podcast.
You do that. Okay, cool. Well, that's all. Friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Mask.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.